Moving on to Resolution 18-265, urging the city administration to expedite the transfer by deed of Kalailoa Parkland to the city for use in perpetuity as a public park or recreation area. Is there someone here from the administration?
Good morning and aloha, Committee Chair Kobayashi and council members. For the record, Jeanne Ishikawa, Deputy Director for the Department of Parks and Recreation.
But we're only talking about the city,
Correct. Right.
the city lands.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And because it's been 20 years, so we're, in need of recreation
Yes.
area.
Agree. And so I think, again, in the last 3 years, we've moved at a great pace, I think in an improved pace, to assure that this can happen soon.
Okay.
It has been a long time, but regardless, I have to say on behalf of our department that we are grateful that the Navy approached us in the city, to provide us with additional park space. That is something that everyone knows that we need. We have such a high demand for fields and play areas. So we are grateful. Although it's taken a while, I do want to say that with the support of administration and Corporation Council and our other sister agencies, in 3 years we have made great movement. So we are close.
That's good because, and once in a while I hear a reference to hunt, but we're not really looking at their lands, right? We're only looking at the lands that Navy is giving to the city.
Correct.
Councilmember Menor.
Yeah, just very briefly, this transfer is very important to the West Oahu region
Yes.
that I represent with Councilmember Pine.
Yes.
So, the chair has mentioned the 20-year delay. So what are the issues that came up that resulted in that such a lengthy delay? And have those issues been resolved, or are we resolving them?
I want to say that I cannot really speak on what happened prior to, but again, the department is grateful that we were included in the conversation. It has been a long process, but in the last 3 years, I think that we approached those concerns. We had stacks or boxes of paperwork that have evolved. I can tell you that at one point we were to receive 11 parcels, but since then that number has dropped to 7. So, but the 7 parcels are very good parcels. So we are glad that we can at least move forward with that. If you need me to, I can research on what were some of the delays, but I really am not familiar with what happened. I became involved in 2015, so from that point on, I can fill you in with additional details if you need.
Yeah, so I'm just concerned about moving forward.
Yes.
So you've indicated spring of next year.
If everything, according to my most recent conversation with the Navy, if everything falls in place, then it should be by spring of next year.
I hope it'll happen.
Yeah, me too. We all do. I think we're all excited to look forward, and although you are correct, it falls within your district and Councilmember Pine. We do work closely with your offices, but we also know that these parcels are being looked at island-wide. Everyone is eager because we've received comments and when it's going to be ready, how many fields are going to be there, and looking long term, we're also receiving proposals already of big tournaments, and we can't commit to anything yet because it has to be developed.
Right,
So
right.
we certainly we know that the whole island is looking at this.
Thank you.
Definitely, we want to move forward, but without a doubt, it'll always be first and foremost for public use, park access,
Yes.
open green space. So we do want to keep that in mind so that all of your constituents, all of our communities have the access that they can have, so that all kids, keiki to kupuna is what we do. We want to make sure they have access to the parks.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And
Yeah.
since we passed the sponsorship bill, there's wonderful opportunities for this particular area.
But keeping the park
Yeah.
as a main, focus, right?
Oh, always,
Yeah.
always. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you. Any further questions? Okay, thank you. Anyone else wanting to testify on this matter? Okay, let's see. Members, Chair recommends that Resolution 18-265 be reported out for adoption. Any discussion? I'd like to call the Parks Director back. Either
Michelle.
Director or Deputy? Thank you. So once you get this land from the, when we finally get all the land that is supposed to be for parks and recreation, what are your thoughts about a racetrack?
I think it's too early to comment, and I've already had a conversation with Lee Kobian about this. We are going to follow what the usual process is in terms of working with DPP, as I mentioned earlier, and then community meetings. We know it's going to be a long process because it's open land right now. It's park purposes. So, so to fulfill our requirement of park purposes, we will follow that process of working with DPP, DDC as well for a consultant, start that whole so it will be time. It will take some time and phase in terms of community meetings and, as we whittle things down. So I think that's the time when all the proposals and, partnerships, whatnot, will be coming into play on how to move forward. So I think we need to allow that so that everyone has a chance.
Are you working on a master plan? Or?
That's currently what we're doing with DPP to begin that process.
You haven't started it yet.
We just started working with DPP this past year, so they have gone out to do some site visits. So we're just in the beginning, initial stages.
Okay,
yeah.
But your goal is to keep it parks and recreation.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we have to. That's in the covenant. Yes.
Right. Okay. Any further questions? Okay, thank you. And I hope it'll include a racetrack. Because we've been needing one that this all, Councilmember Fukunaga and I were very concerned after that accident and all the drifting that is occurring up on Round Top. But these people have nowhere else to release their energy when they want to race or drift or whatever they do. And they go on the freeway, so it becomes a safety issue, and that's why we started having this interest in finding a place where it's a safe place rather than our freeway. And I understand that a lot of racing goes on like at 1 in the morning or 2 in the morning. And they're not just like young people, they're older adults too who just love to race. So, and that's why the other counties have racetracks.
Right.
Thank you.
Yep.
Is there any other discussion? Okay, thank you. Any objections? Any reservations? Hearing none. Resolution 18-265 is reported out for adoption. Thank you, and thank you to the UH team, and congratulations again.
Thank you, council members.
Moving on to Bill 76,